collaborative classroom, 2 teachers, 42 students. We collaborate on everything, all lessons, academic and social emotional needs of students. We collaborate with students. They're a huge part of our collaboration as well. It's not team teaching, it's not co-teaching, so we decided that we had to call it something different. So we decided to call it collaborative classroom.
These classrooms, we have 2 classrooms. One of them is less structured with comfy chairs and couches, and the other one is more structured with tables and desks for the students to sit on. They get to choose where they want to sit.
We work together all the time. Sometimes all 42 students are in the same classroom. Sometimes they are going back and forth between the 2 classrooms. Sometimes we split them up and do separate lessons based on needs and then come back together and reassess and kind of teach one another.
Our team teaching experience this year has been fabulous as far as Jennifer and I are able to talk about our kids all day. No one knows our kids as intimately as we do. We know exactly their backgrounds, where they're coming from, what their struggles are, what they're really good at, and we can just talk about them without having to give the whole background. Okay, there's this child in my classroom, so we just go boom and we start talking about students.
I think when Shannon and I were planning out the collaborative classroom, in our mind we really wanted to create a community, and the design qualities of authenticity and protection from adverse consequences, because we've created this community, students and teachers alike have come to recognize that you learn a lot in your failures, you learn a lot through successes, and if you're always talking about and willing to put it out there, you can actually learn a lot more. By 3, what do we do?
We will...
I have a problem with this. I agree with this. I have an issue. Wait, don't erase it. Just tell me what's wrong. Look at what you did. There's always a lot of choice involved because we know that if it's meaningful to them, they'll put forth more effort. We found that some things when we don't give as much choice in the activity or in their output, that we don't get the quality isn't as good. They rush through it. It's just, you can tell they're not quite as engaged. They'll do it, but they're not quite as engaged.
It's been fabulous for the students. It's given them 2 sets of eyes that are on them all the time and know what's going on. As you can see, the level of independence is really high, and that way we can pull small groups all day long. Okay, I'm going to work with these kids today, you go work with those. I'm going to do some writing conferences, you're going to do a math group. And we're able to do that all day, so we're hitting the needs of all the students. We're also providing enrichment activities for the students who've passed their pretest, who are ready to move on to the next level.
This environment is a lot like home. This is how we learn at home. You get where you're comfortable. You know, and I know in our home, you sit down and you try to do your homework first. If you don't understand something, you have to come and ask, a pointed question on, what you don't understand. And so we talk to parents about that at the beginning of the year, and that we are just trying to help their kids be very comfortable so that they can be most engaged and kind of take those risks that you hope that they would take so that they can learn the most.
We all meet in this classroom. We all put our school bags in those closets, and they find a seat and a spot. They chit-chat a little bit. Hey, what'd you do last night? How's the game? But then they realize that there's something to do, so they'll get started on it. And we'll start the day, and we'll say, okay, what are our rotations today? What are your expectations? And our learning rotations, science, social studies, math, writing, reading, we go through, kids decide where they're going to start. We really wanted kids to be able to self-calibrate and to figure out where they are and where they need to be. We've been talking to them a lot this year about being metacognitive, and it's in your abilities to say, I'm really not good at this, I need to work on this, and if kids are good at that, then that's half the battle right there. It really fosters that engagement, because they're like, I got a 0 in this problem solving stuff, I should probably work on that before I do my science. And to see a kid make that decision in 4th grade is really exciting. Where's that 9 gonna go? Blank times 7 is 66. There we go.
Kids can sign up for conferences or just come, and if we're not getting around to conferences quick enough, come and say, listen, I need a conference now. And we always work them in. That's the thing, the kids learn to advocate for themselves. So a lot of times they learn to rely on themselves first. We kind of really talk about, you need to put forth your best effort first. If you're still struggling, you really don't know, talk to a friend, talk to a peer. If you guys still can't come up with that learning, or you think you're on the wrong path, then we conference with them. We stop and we pull small groups, or we do independent learning one-on-one with students.
We're really big into what are you doing and why are you doing it. And if kids don't know the why, we want them to ask questions. We want them to be critical thinkers. We are making sure that all the kids' needs are met with these small groups, but we also know that all the kids need attention, and so we make sure that they're getting enriched and they're getting the attention and the time that they need from their teachers.
There are some things that we also learned that, we could restructure a little bit just to tighten up and make some things easier on us or easier on the kids. We can just be a little more efficient with certain efforts. And so that's something that we're excited about trying out next year.
I think that this has been a really strong, powerful learning environment for us and for the kids. Everything that we hoped for this situation, we've gotten. The authentic learning, the engagement, the being able to talk about kids, the choice, the professional development that we can gain from each other, the kids seeing us and learning from we talk about our mistakes, we talk about, oh wait, that's right. And it looks like we're faking it, but a lot of times you're like, oh, I see what you're saying. That does make more sense. And the kids see that, and they see two adults learning from each other. So it's a good model for them, too.
I love this community. 44 people in this giant family is kind of sometimes the kids refer to it that way.